This is Jilliana Ranicar-Breese in Brighton, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Adrian J Andrews. Hello, Adrian.
Hello, Jilliana.
Nice for you to come. You're looking very mysterious. Yes. Well, we'll start at the beginning, but then I've got to ask you about your neckpiece.
Yes.
So tell me about your early life. I know that you went to a religious school.
Yes, in my primary years, I went to
In London.
A Church of England school, which really didn't do any favours for me. It certainly turned me anti-Western religion.
Right. Western religion.
Western religion.
Yes, but afterwards you obviously started thinking, and you embraced the Eastern religion.
Yes, after leaving secondary school, I did give Western religion another chance.
Right.
And basically, I found myself among obsessives that never stopped talking.
Well,
about
brainwashed.
Totally brainwashed.
Yeah, I mean, Catholics are usually brainwashed, aren't
Yes.
they?
Well, this was just generally Christian, but
Right.
I thought, no, this isn't for me. And for a fact, for a while, I actually became anti-religion par se.
Right.
And then I founded a fan club for a BBC television series called The Tripods, which was showing in the 1980s.
Right.
It was a trilogy of stories, but they only ever made 2 series before cancelling. And of course, being the founder of the fan club, I was introduced to the cast. And one of the principal cast members asked me if I'd met the star of the show. And I said, not yet, but I am in a couple of weeks. And they said, he's a Buddhist, you know. He's
What was his name?
I don't know as he would want me to.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
He's now left the acting profession, and he's in another totally different profession. And he's quite a high up member of the committee. So I'm not going to.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
But they did say that, you know, he does keep on talking about Buddhism.
Right.
And when I did meet him, yes, indeed, he did keep talking about Buddhism, but it was always very poignant to the situation we were working through. And
was he a Japanese Buddhist?
yes, he's a Nichiren Buddhist,
Right.
and still is to this day.
Right.
And I thought to myself, oh dear me, yes, he really is religious, but he's a very nice person, so we overlooked that bit. But to be honest with you, the more he spoke about Buddhism, the more similarities I saw to my own lifestyle.
Was this in London?
This was in London, West London,
Right.
and there was actually at the time a Buddhist centre very, very close by that had a bookshop. So I decided,
I think
in
I've
a
been there.
non-tripods moment...
Was it Shepherd's Bush area?
No, it was in Richmond.
Oh,
upon
no,
Thames.
no.
And I took myself along there and bought a couple of books, and I was quite impressed. So I decided to give it a bit of a try.
Right.
And the circumstances of my being convinced about Buddhism were very, very strange. I was chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo,
Which I'm also familiar with.
which I was told if you continue chanting, there will be a series of coincidences, and they cease to become coincidence because they happen so frequently.
Right.
And it was rather strange. It was just after Christmas, I remember, and I used to decorate my bedroom at home, and I decided I'd had enough of Christmas decorations for 1 year, so I started taking them down. And in the background I had Blue Peter on the television. And at the very end of that episode, I was just listening to it, I wasn't actually watching it, and at the very end of that episode they said, and don't forget, it's 12th night tonight, so you've got to take down your Christmas decorations. That was it. That was a minor thing, and I thought, yes, it works.
Right.
So I was, as Buddhists term, I was in rhythm with my environment.
Right.
And that's what convinced me.
Right. Well, the first time I came across that expression, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, believe it or not, was in the 70s in Mexico. I was, it's quite a long story, but anyway, I was going around with an American called Marvin, and we'd gone out to some village looking at pottery, and we went by bus. And we were waiting for the bus to come back, and well, buses in Mexico. It was just a local bus. And he started chanting, Nam Myoho Renge-kyo. And hey presto, the bus arrived.
Yes.
That was the first time I came across it.
Excellent.
And then, because it was very trendy in the 70s.
Yes, it was. There was actually a magazine centre spread that covered it, and they called it Designer Buddhism. Chant for a Porsche and you will get it. No, that's not necessarily the case. I did actually ask when I first started practicing one of the leaders about this headline, chant for a Porsche and you will get it. And they said, not exactly right. If that's what your life's desire is, yes, by all means chant for it. Doesn't mean you're going to get it, but by the end of it, you'll know why you didn't get it.
Yes. So you're still a practicing Buddhist today?
I'm still a practicing Buddhist.
And that's how many years? 30 years?
Oh golly, yes, more than I can actually testify to. More years than I can actually. I am actually happy about.
Oh right. Okay. So you got into acting. Tell me how you got into acting.
Again, it's through the tripods.
Yes.
I was interviewing a model manufacturer who had literally just borrowed the tripods. It's a bit like War of the Worlds, set in 100 years in our future, and Earth had been reverted to a primitive way of life, and were being ruled over by unseen aliens that roamed the countryside in tripod vehicles with 3 legs, walking across the countryside, and they were 100 feet tall. And a model manufacturer, asked to borrow the wooden prototype that was made of a tripod before the series was made. And I borrowed it off the producer and let him have it for 24 hours. And in that time, they produced the first ever model kit of a tripod. And a public meeting, I was actually, as a membership meeting, I was actually interviewing this guy. And one of the actors from the show who was present afterwards came up to me and said, "That was very professional. Have you trained as an actor?" And I said, "No." I said, "I always wanted to, but I decided to take up my my second love, and that was cartoonist and illustrator." And he said, "You really do come across as professional. Consider it." And so, yes, I did. As soon as my business started floundering,
the graphic design
graphic
business.
design, cartoon and illustration. It was one of the printers I worked for said, "Do you work on computer?" I said, "No, I'm an old style cartoonist."
You're
And
out
he
of
said,
business.
Yeah, he said, "Everything you've done for me over the years, I've fed into computer, and if you've drawn a little man carrying a banner and I want him to hold the banner in the air, I can juggle around with the position of his arm on a computer. So if you don't want to learn about computers, you're not going to get the business."
Yeah.
And indeed, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I got my first computer kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
I didn't want anything to do with them.
But did you become a digital?
I manipulate images on computer.
Yeah. But you didn't take to it.
No, I didn't take. I'm totally incompetent drawing on computer.
Right. Yes, well, in fact, I went out of business myself because when I owned my photo library, Retrograph Archive, I didn't go digital, and the phone stopped ringing.
Yes.
Well, we're going to come back to all that in part 2. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.